Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the beautiful Patti Negri. Patti, how you doing today?
I am excellent. So good to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, it is an honor to have you here. But before we talk about why you're here, Patti, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You are a world-renowned psychic medium and good witch, only working out of the light. Um, and best known for your reoccurring role on Travel Channel's #1 show, Ghost Adventures. You are the international best-selling author of Old Work Magic for the Modern World, tips, tricks, and techniques to balance, empower, and create a life you love. With that, that's amazing. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But when did you realize that you had your gift as a medium?
I think it has always been there, and I've always known. Literally, I was a toddler. I was not into kindergarten yet, and I just had all sorts of very imagine what in modern day we go imaginary friends. It's like, but they're not imaginary. They're real
Right.
spirits and beings, and they can give me real information. I honestly think that kids really have the gift, just like animals, but it just gets taught out of us in our modern Western non-mystical, complete left brain logical focus. We've taken the magic out, even out of our religion and art. So it just luckily didn't get taught out of me. My mom would always go, yeah, grandma did that too. Yeah, grandma could see that too. So, and I was always obsessed with the dead. It was not in a dark or morbid way. There most of them were good. There were some scary ones and bad, but I literally did my first seance. I was 7 or 8 in my little suburban Los Angeles area home. Um, Went into the hall where there were no windows, stuffed towels under the doors, and then I realized I really didn't know any dead people. So I'm like, Marilyn Monroe, John Kennedy, everybody wait that an 8-year-old, 7 or 8-year-old knows. And my, windowless, lightless room filled with orbs and shadows and sounds. And as I ran out screaming with my best friend, Sherry Jones, I was jumping up and down going, this is real and we can control this, because I had lifted the veil, not even knowing what that meant yet. So, and thus it began.
And it's funny because a lot of times, like you said, we realize these as kids and it just goes over our heads, or we're told, stop being silly. Um, these things aren't real. And it's so easy to break down a kid like that. Like
Yeah.
that's, and make them think that they're crazy or something like that.
Right. Or it's there. Johnny has an imaginary friend. Some do,
Right.
and they're great. Imaginary friends are actually healthy and good, but not all of them are imaginary friends.
Right. Well, and it's not just that though, but we also want to talk about how you are a performer as well. You've enjoyed numerous stage, film, and television roles. You've had the honor of working with some huge names, to name a few, like Martin Sheen, Burt Reynolds, John Voight, Ernie Hudson, Josh Duhamel, Chevy Chase, Sylvester Stallone. Um, so you've worked with a lot of amazing people, living and dead. And what does it feel like for you to work with some of these high-profile, iconic names?
It always been amazing, because it's amazing how sweet most of them are. They're just regular people. I think my big excitement was when I first got the one I the it was a show with Martin Sheen and Robbie Benson, all these people, and Burt Reynolds directed. And at that point, I was doing like bigger parts in little nothing shows and the little parts in big shows. This was a smallish thing, but um and I was just like, oh my God, I'm getting directed by Burt Reynolds. He was still a movie star. And Martin Sheen came up to me, and with those beautiful eyes of his, he goes, don't be nervous. He goes, just have fun with this. We're the luckiest people in the world. Just play. Just play.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and he just put me at ease like that. And I think the next one that just two more. One, Sylvester Stallone, because I literally, it was early. I was a baby and I was a Rocky girl. I was the girl again running like a ring girl kind of thing. And he needed somebody to sing, and I'm like, well, I really don't sing, but I'm the one that said I could do anything, and it was an
Right.
easy. And he's like, back me up here, and then he fought for me to get me my union card, because you have this thing called the SAG card, the union card. It's hard to get for a new actor in town, and he fought for me to keep it once they said, oh, hire somebody who was already in it, and he said no, she came up first. So that,
Right.
one more, I was a dancer. I was a tap dancer was my thing. So one of my heroes was Gregory Hines, and when I got to do a film with him. He wasn't even dancing in it, but I was hired to dance in it. But when he decided to choreograph, I have all these pictures from MGM. I have some over my head on this wall, like of me just like being choreographed by my idol. I'm this the luckiest girl in the world. And I've gone through life going, I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
That's so awesome. And when you get these opportunities, you take advantage of them. Yes, luck has a part to do with it, obviously, but it's also about talent, drive, determination too. So don't sell yourself short,
Oh no,
you
no.
know.
I we create our own luck and we create our own bad luck and we create
Right.
it. Oh, I'm the queen of I mean, I've done broke the odds on 1,000 things. This is a whole different story, but I was supposed to have been dead by 50. So instead of being dead as promised by medical, I did the world's hardest obstacle course. So I beat 100,000 people, tried out for Wipeout, and scariest, hardest, most painful, most empowering thing I've ever done. I can't cook, so I decided I'm going to cook for Gordon Ramsay. Beat another 100,000 people. I'm on MasterChef season 3. That's the witch side of me, the good witch side of me, all
Right.
positive magic. Then I go, okay, I want to prove it's not a fluke. I did the physical thing. I don't know what saute means. And I've cooked for Joe Bastianich, Gordon Ramsay. I've got what I have absolutely no business doing. America's Got Talent was on. I go, I'm going to get on that show. Next thing I know, I am rolling on the floor, making a fool of myself, which I love to do, with Howie Mandel, psychically reading his dog. We can do anything we believe we can do. And if we choose to be lucky, we're going to be lucky. And we
I,
control everything. I'm supposed to be dead. Health issues, this issues. I was not blessed, whatever. But we are powerful beings. And that's what, whether I'm on a goofy television show or my YouTubers or all this stuff, what I'm really about for people is empowering, letting them know we could do anything. Right now, I think we have to do it kind of within the laws of physics, but I think that's going away as soon as we get into that other 90% and the quantum sciences take over. We're going to not even have to stay within the laws of physics. Yeah.
that's it's that type of stuff. And I do appreciate you talking about how we make our own luck and China's the power of positivity. That's what the sledgehammer horror is all about. You got to take the bad with the good, or you wouldn't realize how good the good was if you didn't have the bad. So it's that yin and yang, and I really appreciate you talking about that too. And if you guys are not following Patti yet, I do have all of her social media links in the description, as well as her YouTube link. I cannot recommend it enough. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please follow her on social media so you can become a part of that family as well. So, when obviously we talk about you being a medium, and it's a very powerful thing in both light and dark. But what's been your best experience for you being a medium?
Wow, there are so many, it's hard to say. I think my best experience isn't was like, oh, I'm in the castle in France and doing a 14 camera shoot with whatever. It's the I'm 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 in a little single apartment in Hollywood where a young guy had died, and there has sat his wife with the iPhone and didn't know the code to get the 1,000 pictures off, and the spirit gave me the iPhone code so they could show the pictures and videos to their toddler.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. Stuff like
that's a
that.
special thing.
That's a special thing to like to the spirits, the dead have a lot of beautiful things to say. So I think it's those kind of things, the touching someone's heart, the one-on-one, the getting closure, again, from an iPhone code to where's the will to it's okay that you didn't make my funeral, I know you loved me, kind of stuff.
Yeah, and giving people closure is so important. Um, my wife's father passed away and they didn't have a funeral, and that was very hard for her to not be able to go and have that closure and say goodbye. And so that's something I'm a huge believer in. And if we're talking about the light, we got to talk about the dark as well. What would you say, and if this is a little too personal, I understand, what would be the scariest moment that you've had as a medium?
I've had a couple of them. I think the biggest one was I was doing a seance because again, I believe I work the light, but you got to go to the dark. You bring the light into the dark. And with TV, they don't want you to go to the place with the happy ghosts with hanging from the chandelier because they got an Oscar there or they got married there. No, you go to the insane asylum. You're channeling serial killers. I was
Yeah.
at the house. built by right in my neighborhood. My neighbor. I live in the old Hollywood Hills, right under the Hollywood sign, old 100-year-old home. It was this house. It was built by Charlie Chaplin, for one of his many, many lovers, Mary Astor. She was a movie star of the day. And it was a total party house. And when you're a total party house, yay, party, but it could bring in some dark elements. It was crazy.
Yeah.
20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. In the 60s, the Rolling Stones manager bought the house. And so the Stones stayed there, Mamas and Papas, Graham Parsons, all these people. Then they moved out. And then the person who invented the real life sex doll moved in. House got too spooky for him. And then my neighbor, Marilyn Manson, moved in. My neighbor for 7 years, and he recorded there, and it even got too dark for him eventually. But we're at his house, and we were doing a seance. It was a documentary about this crazy haunted house. It looks like a haunted house. It looks like it was built like with sacred geometry, like the Masons had built it or something, like 4-level spiral staircase, exactly 12 windows here, leaded glass. It's like they're literally, I work compass, there's like a compass drawn on the floor of the entryway. It's like this was made for magic and ritual.
Yeah.
Crazy haunted. So we're doing a seance, and my one rule is whatever, it's like, is you got to be respectful, because whenever anything, even good, bad, dark, light, nobody wants to be disrespected. If you go in with respect, you're going to get communication. So, but this one kid, maybe because we were filming or just because he was young, and when you have a bunch of young people around a table, there was 10 or 12, life force is high, just like why poltergeist activity happens with teens and stuff. When you're young people, there's so much life force. So it was a table full of young people. It was a 4-camera shoot, this documentary. And this kid kept getting kind of disrespectful. First, cool things were happening. It was like the French doors flew open, everybody screaming, and the cameras were catching it. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then that happened again. And then there was a speaker sitting on the floor, and it came on white. It sounded just like a ghost box. It sounded just like a spirit box. We looked later, it wasn't even plugged in, this thing, and everybody screaming. But then he kept doing it. And then he said, we're working a Ouija board. I've used them since I was 7, safely, mostly since I was 7. But he said something really stupid and disrespectful, and not him, but literally the cameraman facing him burst into flames, just like a angel wing, like a V up his back, like angel wings of fire, spontaneous combustion, like Spinal Tap. That was not okay. Everybody, 2 cameras caught this on camera, spontaneous combustion. One camera started like filming the ceiling or the floor. You test the mettle of a camera person by a small room with a lot of people bursting into flames. The poor guy who got caught on fire is wondering why everybody is screaming and pointing at him. Me, cool witch medium Patti, becomes medic Patti, and I'm EMT1 certified cardio. I like drop and roll. I'm calling in all my protectors, my wards that I use to protect us. I'm like, this is done. I've never stopped filming in my life, but this is not okay. You do not burst into flames on my watch. Shut it down. Shut it down. And his shirt burnt off him like it was a synthetic. It was cotton. It should not have burned off like that. But the guy who caught on, I'm watching the blistering on his back, and I'm like, this is not. But the cameraman, who was a super skeptic and a filmmaker, he's like, oh no, we got to finish this. He was so intrigued that he burst into flames. He was not standing in front of a fireplace or a candle.
Right.
He's like, no. I talked to the spirit, made it promise it wouldn't do anything like that within reason. The kid who caused the issue was no longer going to be a problem. He became the choir boy in the corner, like, okay, he's not a problem anymore. Okay, shut up.
Right.
And we were able to finish, but so much crazy stuff happened. Glasses flying, the best and worst I have ever seen. But the crazy thing that to me is why you have to know what you're doing when you do this stuff is 3 weeks later, the cameraman, he goes, Patti, look at my back. He sent me a picture, right? We had to get, and totally where I'd seen that blistering on the small of his back, totally looked like he had went and got a tattoo of a dragon on his back. Open mouth, sharp teeth, winged head into the shape of a serpent. And
That's insane.
that is the exact energy I called in to shut down the seance. I work dragon, that's scary, huh? I work dragon magic. It's crossroads magic. I work dragons. And I'm looking at his back. I'm like, oh my God, you have a tramp stamp of a dragon on your back. That is the coolest thing I have seen ever.
Yes.
He thought so too. He actually, they haven't done it yet. He actually wrote a script of horror film, the funny, scary kind that I love.
Yeah.
He wrote it with Stephen Norrington, the guy who wrote League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Blade series, and about this TV medium who did every TV show about me, basically. Margot Robbie should play me if they ever do this. Just saying. But anyway,
I
but
see it.
me too. But again, about this TV medium doing every TV show, and then a portal opens, and then it becomes a scary, spooky. So they hope that they keep getting other projects, but they do it. But I sat down with him for 5 hours. People don't know. I'm like, Lauren, you can't have an actor say that on camera. You can't say that on camera. He goes, but you said that. I go, I know I said that. That caused a shift. That opened a portal.
Right.
You don't want to be one of those cursed horror films, do you? It happens all the time. A spirit and energy, good or bad, doesn't know the difference of a method actor reciting lines and somebody really doing the ritual. It happens. So it's like, let's say something that sounds spooky or scary or mystical, but we're going to open a portal to hell in the midst of it. So all the actors don't die at 27. It's like,
Well, and especially because you don't have someone that's trained there for this
yeah,
type of
yeah.
work.
That's why
You know,
more and more, though, I must say more and more they're using consultants. I've consulted on it. They're using consultants. If you're doing a bunch of stuff with witchcraft, have somebody who knows witchcraft on set or with the
yes.
script beforehand. Somebody you're doing voodoo, have a voodoo priest or priestess there. It's just dumb not to.
Right. Right. You got to keep people safe. That's number one. Whether you believe or don't believe, there's plenty of documented cases of these things really happening. And watching you and seeing the things that you've done, it's amazing to see the things that you've done and the things you've been able to accomplish. And a little bit on the entertainment side, you've shared the stage and done things like that. But what gave you the push to get into television?
Ah, kicking and screaming and fighting it the whole way. Um, I I kept this my private. I was in television as an actor, and then when I decided I was too old to be an actor at 30, I became a producer. So I've ran a production company for 20 years. And I'm like, these people, and I'm a witch, so that's my practice. I do seances on this side. I talk to dead people, but I'm like, this town is not that liberal, and my production company was very corporate. I'm like, these people cannot know I, number one, talk to dead people, number two, I dance around bonfires naked in a cloak. They probably shouldn't know that. I'll just keep my private life private. But in 2008, when that great big corporate crash came, and corporate entertainment became a dirty word because people were misusing it, and jets and hookers, and it's like, well, that's not what I do. I do
Yeah.
dance extravaganzas to teach motivation to the Mattel's HR department. What? Film. And but everything kind of was crashing and burning in my production company, and at the same time reality television was going beep 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 beep. And I got a call from somebody that had been to my seances. Go, Patti, I'm doing a TV show. I really need you to do one of your seances on my TV show. I'm like, no, that's my private life. Thank you, but I can't. I keep that.
Right.
Please, no, please, no, please, no. And I'm looking at my completely empty calendar. Well, what's the name of the show? And literally she goes, well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. I'm like, who would watch that? Who in the world would watch a show called Mobile Home Disaster on country music television? Maybe I could do it. Little did
Right.
everybody would watch it. But I went, and it was the most fulfilling thing almost I had ever done. Because again, I was in sketch, I was in improv, I was an actor, all my skills of how to play the camera, how to talk in sound bites, beginning, middle, end, and be a legitimate witch and be a legitimate medium. And I got to help a human little girl that everybody thought was crazy because she was drawing portals on the ceiling of their motorhome. I'm like, no, there are portals on the ceiling of her motorhome. I got to help a spirit cross over that was kind of stuck there, and we got to feel and experience together. And best of all, I got to just open the hearts maybe a little bit of this kind of Southern Bible Belt cast and crew that
Yeah.
they're going, wow, this is real. This isn't evil. This is good. And
Mhm.
and just to open the minds. I'm like, this is great, but never again. Did it once. Anyway, 2 months later or so, the show aired. And I'm like, that was fun. That was great. But no, I can't. I have my career. My very first phone call was from my biggest corporate client, national client. I traveled the country. Hi, Patti. Hi. I saw you on television last night. You did? Yeah, I did. I didn't know you were into the paranormal. Yeah. I'm like, my voice is starting to squeak. Yeah.
Right.
And then she goes, paranormal, and proceeded to tell me her first ghost story. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm
Right.
in the room closet. I'm out of the psychic medium closet. This is who I am. This was the most authentic, real me putting all of my skills and training and ability together. And I haven't looked back. And I haven't
That's
looked back.
so
And I
awesome.
became, because I do live literally in the middle of Hollywood. Um, I both sides of the camera, both sides of production. I became the person to start calling, starting in 2008, and then 2015 with Ghost Adventures. I was just going to be that one-off guest that they always have. Either the local psychic medium or the local person who experienced. They called me in. It was a Hollywood episode, because I had recently I do a lot of charity work on the board of the Arts Council, and I'd done a ghost walk, and I literally had a big old conversation with Charlie Chaplin, not knowing that he sat there every night. And the people at the place, the American Legion Hall, told Zach and the team. So they called me in to tell my one experience. But I've been doing like 2 episodes a year for the last 9 years since then, which is pretty good, like 18, 19,
Yeah.
for a very boy-oriented school. So I've just got 2 new ones in the can. We just shot. And so hopefully they start the dang new season soon.
Well, and like I said, guys, the best way to follow along with that is by clicking those links down in the description to follow Patti on social media so you can stay up to date with all the amazing things that she's done. So, before I let you go, Patti, we always go to the same question. Obviously, as a horror movie podcast, we love horror, and horror and being a psychic medium and the afterlife, they kind of go hand in hand. So, my little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Patti?
Oh,
What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
you know what it is, and which is funny because it's from I was a baby and a kid, but the one that got me is The Birds.
The Birds. Love it.
I was a
Alfred
baby.
Hitchcock.
Yeah, Albert, I probably should not have been watching it at the age I was, but I was that little kid sitting at the TV watching Twilight Zone and all those weird shows as little. I mean, I love horror films. I do like the ones with a sense of humor. I like the ones that you know, um, I want to get. I'm the queen of the jump scare. I can get scared. A fake haunted house scares me more than a real haunted house. Like,
Yeah.
ah!
Yep.
But otherwise I can't name this. There's so many amazing horror films out there, but the one that probably made me who I am is out, and all those Alfred Hitchcock stuff on my back.
He was the man. Like
Yeah.
he was the man. So, again, I know I said it a couple times, guys, but we're at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, please make sure you're following Patti on social media and subscribing to her YouTube channel. Those links are right down in the description. Patti, please don't go anywhere. I do have a couple more questions for you. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are down in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.